Hey y'all, I want to talk about Forest Grove, which is a game made by MIGA Games and published by Blowfish Studios. This is a narrative story driven detective sort of game. It's a very interesting concept, this one. If you're a fan of, like, say, the Arkham games where they have the detective mode, you might like this game. If you're not into that, this game isn't gonna be for you. I like the detective stuff and Batman where you can kind of go around, investigate, and listen to things and learn about what's really going on or how something happened. And that's what this game is. It has an interesting concept because it does set itself up in a way where there could be it could be a franchise. There could be multiple games in this series if they wanted to, because the idea is that you're this detective and it's this futuristic concept where you're in a room that has like a grid, and inside the grid you recreate an entire house that actually existed. So instead of physically going to the crime scene yourself, you're like recreating an entire crime scene using like technology in this space. And so with that, I could see where you could do multiple games of the series because you can use the same space and just use that to recreate however many scenes you wanted to. I can see where the concept, the sort of an endless possibility there with that. So in terms of that, it's a interesting bigger scope, slightly different experience. The way this game works is that you have to go around and find all these clues, and after you get so many clues, then you have to make the determination on your own what you think happened and who committed the crime. And this one in particular is a girl has kind of disappeared. You're not sure what's going on. You're learning about her family and things like that, and where she's been, what's happening, and you look at it through laptops, text, and then they have this interesting thing, like it's a projection. So what you do is, which is the most like detective like mode of this game, is you'll see these little floating orb things around, and you can go up to it, and then you kind of basically move this little signal around until it reads properly, and then it plays an audio that you can listen to. But they also have another mode where you take over this little machine and you fly it around, and there's multiple floors to this house. And so you're just in one house, and you use this little machine to go around, and you can scan these like little tiny projections and use the machine to like make it bigger to watch like a projected scene. Now, I like the idea and concept of this, although I felt it was a little lacking in that part because when you project it, it does play the scene out, but it literally has like the character models just standing there the whole time and not actually moving. Where I would have liked to actually have like some movement, make it more interactive, have the characters move around as they're talking and doing stuff instead of it being just static. Because that point, I felt like it didn't really add much compared to the audio, because at the end of the day, you're either listening to the audio or you're watching two characters kind of stand there with also audio in the background. And I was trying to figure out what did that feature really add any more than just listen to the audio at that point. So I wish there was definitely more there added in terms of like the difficulty of the game, it's not too difficult to try to figure things out. For me, I love puzzle games, but I'm really bad at them, to be honest. And a lot of the times I have to look at walkthroughs to get through them, but I don't really mind. That's not for everybody. There was only like two times towards the end where I was a little bit confused and I really needed to walk through to get through it. I still technically didn't find every single clue there was, but the thing with the game is you don't have to find all the clues, but you do have to find a majority. There were a few times where I would get stuck and I had to use the walkthrough because I couldn't figure it out and I still didn't have the right percentage to make a guess based on the evidence. Oh, this is who I think um committed this crime, or where she disappeared at, or what's happening, or what she's done. I had to put all the pieces together. And the thing is the story is somewhat interesting too, because it's not only this girl's gone, like where did she go, but explains kind of like her life, and there's other characters that have other things going on, where it talks about her dad's, and it's some interesting stuff with his work, because you learn this stuff, you're like, okay, I see what this is happening here, and there's like two kind of separate storylines that are starting to emerge, and then the third one pops up. And so for a while, you're following all these storylines. You know, eventually they somehow connect, but it takes a while before you get to figure out, okay, how does this technically connect to this? Or is it a series of bad events that just happen to kind of coincide one after the other, and this family just has really bad luck? So in that sense, the story and all that still kept me engaging, which is why I made it all the way through. I finished the game in one sitting, and that's another good thing about this kind of game, is that unfortunately, it's only one case, but it does make the experience short and sweet to the point. And for this kind of experience, which I feel is built out well, but I feel like could have a lot more to it, I'm glad it's on the shorter end. And the only other issue I had was, now I played it on console, and sometimes the console is weird, especially games that involve like using mouse click and all that. This game is definitely suited better to play on PC. So if you're thinking interested in this game and you want to try it out, I would say probably get on PC over console, just because with the controller, you can adjust the sensitivity and stuff as needed, but when games use just kind of a mouse-only based system, it becomes a little tedious sometimes trying to, like, move things around on your controller, and that's for somebody that loves using controller on PC, but I would recommend probably sticking with a mouse on this one if you can. The game is out now that you can totally get it. It didn't come out too long ago. This is something I recommend. Yeah, I think it's worth playing through since it's such a short experience. You can kind of see the potential of the franchise, and I hope they get another shot at making another game like this or another one after, because I feel like there's the potential there, and it's a little limited right now still in terms of like the tech and the budget and all that. Again, the studio I believe is only like of two people anyway, mostly, and for two people, this is really impressive. All the stuff that they were able to do and throw this in there. So I think if more resources, this could be something really cool. And it's worth just for a few hours for your time. If it was like a bit longer experience, it might be harder to recommend. But if you never tried this kind of game before, or if you're not the best at puzzle games either, but you want to try one, I would say this is like a good info to help you try it out. It's got, kind of like passwordy sort of puzzles, but it's nothing too complicated. Again, it's only in like one house, so you don't have to feel too overwhelmed in terms of trying to figure out, okay, like, where do I go to look for stuff? Because you are in a certain kind of limited space, but there are multiple floors, so you can easily miss stuff sometimes too. Like, there was a couple times where I missed something just like on the ground, and I'd been in the room 2 or 3 times. So I would suggest with a game like this too, if you do get it, make sure you look everywhere, and everywhere you can, take your time, look around. You can easily miss something small. A lot of stuff that's like fingerprints you could scan and things like that. So, and yeah, it's interesting to see where the kind of story goes and where it wraps up, and me like going with my theory on like who did what and why about what specific thing that happened, because like I said, there are multiple things going on at once. Um, it's very interesting to see. And yeah, I hope they continue with this. I know the studio looks like they are making more games, maybe of this kind of variety, so that'd be exciting for sure. And yeah, guys, check this out if you get the chance now. And like I said, probably get it on PC, but it is available on console if you have a PS5 as well. That I played it on. It might be available for the Switch too, possibly, but I'm not 100% sure. But meantime, guys, thanks for tuning in,